Shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honor and praise to the apostle elders of GMS that taught me this truth, and shalom to the Akim that has their life daily, pushing this truth with truth and sincerity, and to the Akwaf that listen and learning, a shalom. Once again, my name is Idam with GMS Detroit Bar Camp. And this is just a lesson on the return of Yahawashi. You know, how Yahawashi is going to return with the hosts of heaven. And when he returns, it's going to be the end of their kingdom and the beginning of the new kingdom, the kingdom of his kingdom. And when it happens, we're going to be, it's going to be a beautiful time for the children of Israel, the so-called Afro-Americans, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. For it is like foreigners scattered abroad the four corners of the whole earth, and it's going to be their downfall. The tribes of the earth is going to mourn when they see Yahawashi. Matter of fact, let me grab that first. This is Revelations 1:7. Behold, he come in the clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they which pierced him, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, it be true. And they're going to wail because when he returns, he's not coming to be, as so-called Christians say, he's going to be coming to bring peace and joy and that to everybody. He's not coming to bring that. He's coming to bring a sword. He's coming to make war with the nations. You know, they think that, you know, the if you listen to that Bible Christian nonsense, you know, instead of reading the Bible, hey, you believe that he's coming to, you know, bring peace and joy on earth. But he's not coming to do that. He's not coming to bring peace and joy. When he returns, he's coming to deliver the children of Israel out of this out of this earth, out of this condition they in, and he's gonna put the rest of the heathen nations in their condition. For this is Isaiah 66:15. For lo, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger and with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword Yahweh will plead with all flesh, and the slaying of Yahweh will be many. So when Yahawashi returns, the slaying of Yahawashi, since Yahawashi is going to be doing the Most High's bidding, the slaying of Yahawashi, who the world enemy calls Jesus, is going to be many. He's coming to make war. Matter of fact, Revelations 19:11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and righteousness he doth judge and make war. And his eyes was as a flame of fire. And all those images that you see of your so-called Jesus, his eyes is not as a flame of fire. So all the images that you see of that white image, that's the reason why we don't say that name Jesus, because every time you say that name Jesus, you see that white image. And he's not a white man. And his eyes was as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. And how we know that this was talking about him, who the world enemy called Jesus? Read John 1:1. And the armies which followed him upon heaven The armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And the armies which followed him was also in chariots. Hey, the same way he left, the same way he gonna return. Matter of fact, let me go to that right now in Acts. Acts 1 and uh, um, 1 and 9. And when he had spoken these things, let me go further up. 1 and 6. And when they was to come together, they asked him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? And they knew that when Yahawashi died, after he come back to life, that soon the kingdom of heaven is going to be restored unto the children of Israel. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the season which the Father had put in his power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be a witness unto me, both in Jerusalem and in Judea and Samaria to the uttermost parts of the earth. And right now, the uttermost parts of the earth, right now in America, where he was talking about, the word is being preached. So, the scriptures also say, this word must be preached into the ends of the earth, and then the end shall come. So, the word is being preached to the ends of the earth, the true doctrine. So we closer to the end right now than they was. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld him, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And that cloud was a chariot. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. And these 2 men that stood by them in white apparel, those was angels. Which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahawashi, which was taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him going into heaven. So when Yahawashi he left in the chariot. When he returns, he's coming back in the chariot. But when he come back in the chariot, he's not coming in the chariot to make to be friendly with the world. Back to Revelations 19 and 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and he was called the name of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh. And the armies which followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, and with that he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress in the fierceness wrath of the Almighty power. And when he returns, he's not coming to be nice. Mr. Nice Guy. Hey, the scriptures say that his mouth goeth a sharp sword. Hey, what you do with a sword? Hey, he's coming to slice and dice and julienne people. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. What you do with a rod of iron? You beat people down with that. And he's going to tread them with a wine press with the fierceness wrath of the Almighty. And matter of fact, let's go to Isaiah 63, because the first people he's going to come visit is Edom. Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? And the Edom are the Edomites, the so-called white man. As glorious and perilous traveling in greatness of his strength, I that speak in righteousness and mighty to save. And this is who the world, and it calls Jesus, and this is Yahawashi. Wherefore art red in thy apparel, and thy garments is like him that treadeth the wine fat. And Yahawashi is literally going to beat them down. And red is what they say, the so-called white man said they rednecks. They quick to say rednecks. They know they red. They different shades of red. They ain't white, they different shades of red. And have trodden down the winepress alone of the people, and there was none with me, for I tread them in my anger, and I trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeem is to come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered, was there none to uphold? Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury upheld me. I will tread down the people in my anger, and I will make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring them down, and their strength, I will bring down their strength to the earth. And hey, when Yahawashi returns, he's not coming to be a Mr. Nice Guy. He's coming to bring salvation unto the just, and he's coming to seek and destroy the wicked and pass judgment. Back to Revelations 19 and 16. And he had a vesture. He had on his vesture, and on his thigh was name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing on the sun, and with a loud voice saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come, gather yourself unto the supper of the great power, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, the flesh of captains, the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and the flesh of them that sit, the flesh of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and the army that gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his armies. And the nations of this world is going to try to fight against Yahawashi, but they're not going to prevail. And matter of fact, let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter, and it's going to tell you how they're going to wind up against Yahawashi. You know, they ain't going to feel good. And Yahawashi going to make quick work of them. And this 2nd Ezra 1 and 13. And after it came to pass, after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there rose a wind from the sea, and that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, And lo, a man waxed strong with 1,000 of heavens. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And it's literally everything gonna tremble up under him, and regardless if it's man or beast or anything living. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they that burned that heard his voice, like as the earth filleth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it, and that was a chariot. And let me go to the 5th verse. And after this I beheld, and lo, was gathered to a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came from the sea. And this is the nations. They're going to try to fight Yahawashi to keep their dominance, keep their reign of this earth. Hey, they don't want to go in this captivity. Hey, they going to want to try to keep their rule. So they're going to fight him. But there's going to be no prevail because they're going to lose. They're going to lose miserably. And they're going into captivity. But I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain, a fathership, and flew upon it. I could not have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. It's going to be so big that you cannot see one end of the end from the beginning of it to the end of it. That's how big his ship is going to be. And after this I beheld, and lo, they which was gathered together to do him was so afraid yet thirst to fight. It's like you. And they going to be so afraid, but they still, the Most High going to put a spirit in them, and they got a spirit in them right now. They think that they could beat anything. They can find a way. The so-called Edomites can always, all they movies, they never end up in defeat. They never get their ass whooped. You know, they always find a way to overcome the so-called aliens, the so-called alien invaders. And they try to make the angels as little green men, reptilian men. But this is not the case. The angels look like so-called Afro-Americans. So-called, they look like Jakes. They look like Yahawashi. And lo, as he saw the voice of the multitude, the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But I only saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it has been, a blast of fire, and out of his lip a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And these are the laser beams from that chariot. And man, these laser beams is gonna be way terrible. Like Lord's War of the World. And when it hits you, it just turn you into dust. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, everyone, so that a sudden of an immovable multitude was nothing to perceive, but only dust and the smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. And and he's gonna take them out so quick, just like America's gonna fall. It's gonna fall. America gonna fall in 1 hour. It's gonna be destroyed by the thermonuclear missiles, and he's gonna take down these nations down quick, just like he took down America. And when he returns, it's gonna be our deliverance out of here and they destruction. They going into captivity. The kingdom of heaven has got to be built up. We built up all their kingdoms, so the kingdom of heaven got to be built up. And since it's gonna be our resting place, they got to build the kingdom of heaven. They got to go to work. They got to do hard labor. Like we did hard labor up under them. So with that said, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahawashi, Bashem Kakadash. Double honor and praises to Apostle Elders of GMS that taught me this truth. And Shalom to the Akim that has their life daily. Pushing this truth to the four corners of the earth with truth and sincerity. And to the Akwaf that's listening and learning. Shalom.